Suzy Wrong, Joy Drive with Dean Warren's film, TV and theatre reviewer.
Suzy Wrong, do you get holes in your sweaters and jumpers around your belly button?
I don't.
Oh.
Funnily enough.
Oh.
I mean, it's such a good question.
You're not rubbing against the kitchen bench?
Enough.
I'm never near the kitchen.
You silly man, Warren.
Look, I do have a huge guilt complex about using wire hangers.
Thank you.
Yeah, because,
did you listen, Suzy, to my conundrum?
Yes.
I don't want to go back to wire hangers, but what's a gal to do?
I use wire hangers because I spend all my money on clothing and not on property. Hence, I've got a very small closet, but lots of clothing. And the only way you can squeeze them in is to use completely flat wire hangers.
Maybe they need to come up with like a little thin bamboo or something. I don't know.
Well,
I'm not going
sustainable.
back.
You know what, though? Remember when we had antennas popping up out of our cars and you'd stick the wire hanger in when it snapped off?
That was handy.
It was handy because it was a loop and it was great for AM radio.
It's like the only reason we keep paper clips is to open the iPhone. To get the thin tray out.
Yes, that's true, isn't it?
Well, there's no need for those wire hangers. I remember when my father got a car with an automatic aerial. So you get in and go...
popped up. Yeah.
Fun.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about those.
It's not about the legend of the underground, though, is it, Suzy? Tell us about this one. You said it for homework last week. Warren and I are both right across it. Go ahead.
Okay, old people. The Legend of the Underground is a documentary feature film that takes us to Nigeria, or more specifically to the gay male communities of Nigeria, in the wake of the 2014 Same-Sex Marriage Prohibition Act, which banned gay relationships and entrenched intolerance of sexual minorities. 57 men were arrested at a club in 2018, with police claiming that attendees were engaged in quote-unquote gay initiations. We witnessed the law being used to harass gay people and giving license to homophobia in their wider society that opened the floodgates to to abuse of all kinds, from internet bullying to severe physical attacks. The Legend of the Underground takes care to not impose Western narratives onto its subjects, but invites us to observe the many gay Nigerian lives who are navigating a very tough existence in West Africa today. There isn't a simple or straightforward plot to follow. Instead, we are given a montage of different experiences that make a strong statement about the state of affairs for our gay brothers in Nigeria. The film is directed by Nneka Onora and Giselle Bailey, two queer black American women, and is produced by pop star John Legend's Get Lifted film company. You can check it out now on Binge.
Oh, that surprises me, Suzy Wrong, that two women directed it, because I think it's one of the malest things I've ever seen. Like it is quite focused on the gay male community in Nigeria. Not a problem with that. It's just very noticeable when you're so used to seeing LGBTIQA plus community things produced. For what it's worth, I found it really hard to get to the end of the documentary. I found the lack of structure really confusing. And I found the characters, the stars, the characters in it, I just didn't get to sit with them for long enough to really get attached to them. I don't know. I mean, it's beautiful. The dancing is amazing. The stories are harrowing, and the vision just to see Nigeria is quite something. And I understand the issues that they're going through, but as a documentary film, I found it hard to get to. What did you think?
Your point about the structure of the film, reminded me of when I was in film school, and there was this sort of, they did talk about women filmmakers sort of not following those traditional structures, which is what made me look at the directors, and it almost like fitted that idea that these two women were the filmmakers, so it sort of followed a different kind of structural logic, but I do agree with you, it makes it a little bit hard to stay interested.
Yeah, I think I found the same as well. I thought I was shocked at the way it captured the hate of the Nigerian community towards the rainbow community over there. And, it did touch on the link to religion as well. But the hate is in the law, because they had the was it the Prohibition Act in 2014, I think, that was passed, that meant that, rainbow people couldn't even congregate, I believe, whether it be in private or in public. And I didn't realise that was the extent that it went to, and a 14-year punishment. And I thought, when I was watching it, I thought I would have liked to have seen more of almost a factual documentary on what it's like in Nigeria, because it just reminded me of how much we need to continue the fight for people in other countries as well who are members of our community. And I would have liked to have seen that a bit more explored. And in some ways too, I found that when I was watching it, I was a bit confused, because they showed the shallow side, when I say shallow, the clothing and all of that sort of thing, and I thought there's deeper issues here. And then I realised, well, maybe this is part of the younger generation's strategy to get onto Instagram, to get fame, to get likes, so that they can become their activists. And then I realised afterwards that there might be a strategy behind this, and it's not just people, focusing on wearing nice clothes and looking good and trying to be popular.
I feel that the class divide is really pronounced, and we're not used, because you see so much culture from America where people of colour are the other. These are all people of colour. They're all African Nigerians, but there's a really distinct class distinction. And these boys were saying, we know that we're allowed to get away with this stuff because we're wealthy. Nigeria is no place for a poor black man.
No, that's right. And I felt like this was their way of trying to connect with a really hostile Nigerian public. And I look, Suzy, I found that I would have loved to have seen a whole documentary on what's going on in Nigeria, to be honest.
Yeah, I did think that it was very obvious to me that there wasn't a narrator that sort of explained the story, but that sort of told me that it was trying to not impose itself. The Americans were trying to not impose their understanding of things too much on us. And hearing the both of you talk, I can see that even though it's not very sort of well explained in a traditional, conventional way, we sort of absorb what we need to absorb, and we see what the important things are, especially coming from, this sort of Gen X background that the three of us, belong to. It reminds so much of, the 80s and the 90s that I sometimes think that it's dangerous if we do forget. I mean, we want to move ahead with the times, but watching a film like that, I think it's important to know that these things exist not just overseas, but I think they still exist in Australia with communities that we probably don't have a very close connection with,
And I think there was was Michael the activist, I think Michael was his name, said nobody is free until all of us are free. And I sort of got a few chills when I heard that. And I know he's paraphrasing another American civil rights activist, I forgot the name, Fanny Hamer, I think. And I thought, wow, he's right, isn't it? It's easy for us to sit over here in Australia and think, okay, well, we've just ticked off equal marriage last year, but these people are just,
And
it also tells us that we can't be complacent, because
we can't.
That sort of that urge to control us, that need that some people have to control us and sort of push us down is so strong, and you can see it in the film.
Yeah, we're chatting with Suzy Wrong about The Legend of the Underground. It's a story of the gay rights movement and some pretty good dancing in Nigeria. It's available now to watch on Binge. Suzy, I was really intrigued by the sort of origins of... Well, you tell me which is the chicken and the egg, but the origins of ballroom, and all that stuff that we saw on, what's the name of the Pose? All that kind of culture. Now, have they, I know that it has its origin story elsewhere, but it was big in America in the 80s. So are they mimicking the American culture, or is it harking back to original culture?
Yeah, those are one of the things that shows you how the film was careful not to sort of impose too much of an interpretation of things. Because for what we understand is that the ballroom culture, as we understand it in New York, originated in 60s in New York, by African-American queens there. So it does feel like that's the point of origination, and then whatever that's happening in Nigeria now looks like a derivation of that, but we never know. We don't really know.
And they touched on it towards the end. They had that, they hashtag #NSARS, and which is the special anti-robbery squad over there. And I think there was a video of 2 people being dragged out of a hotel, and then one was shot, and that sort of got everyone upset, and it left me wanting to know more about that and what is actually going on and what's driving the hatred towards our community by the Nigerian public. And I felt like that there's room for that. I want to be educated, and I think it would be good for us all to find out.
Exactly, Warren. And I also thought that they were talking about, I think Michael was talking about the fact that being effeminate as a man in Nigeria is not a new thing, and it used to be lauded, and the royalty used to actually have performers come and perform for them, these effeminate men in basically drag. So it's really interesting that it had a rich culture, and then I guess it's politics, not the community, that says no, that's no longer acceptable.
Absolutely, and the level of fear by the LGBTIQA plus community over there must be just horrific, and I feel for them.
Well, we must do something, Warren.
Yes.
Suzy Wrong, thanks for bringing that to our attention. I would recommend people see it. I think it's beautifully shot. It's lovely to see, and just the accents, the voices, they're beautiful men, and it's a lovely thing to watch. And I very much, read the roles at the end just with the updates of what's happened to everybody, and you think, gosh, my greatest fear for Nigeria is that these beautiful, educated, wealthier black men will give up on the fight and just all move to the States. Suzy, what have you got for homework next week for us?
Well, we expanded our horizons this week, and we continue to do so next week in Suited. It is another documentary on the Binge streaming platform. This time we go to Brooklyn, New York to take a look at a suiting company making clothing for a client base that is comprised almost exclusively of trans men. There will be tears.
Oh.
Okay.
Looking forward to it. So
Thanks, Suzy.
Suited on Binge for next Tuesday.
Great.
Thanks, guys. See you next Tuesday.
See you,
Thanks,
Suzy
Suzy.
Wrong.